Good afternoon. I'm David Rabin. This is my co-counsel, John M. L. Brown. We are attorneys. We represent Officer Andrew Delpy. Officer Delpy is charged with criminal homicide and a warrant today. When called upon to plead, we will enter a plea of not guilty to the charges. I'll read a prepared statement for you. We have fully cooperated with the investigations conducted by the TBI, the Office of Professional Accountability of the Police Department, and the District Attorney's Office. There are limits to what a lawyer can say regarding a pending criminal case. However, I am permitted to respond to existing publicity, such as the video prematurely released by the District Attorney's Office, the media narrative, and rumors and innuendo circulating on social media. You can also address the affidavit, which is a matter of public record. We've all seen the video clip of the shooting that the district attorney released before the investigation even started. But the public was not aware until the release of the police affidavit, that Hambrick was holding his gun before he was shot. The public has learned from the police affidavit that Officer Delpy gave Hambrick repeated verbal commands to stop, drop the weapon, or I will fire, as he was trained to do. We look to these facts being released along with all, and let me emphasize the word all, the videos. Tennessee law permits a police officer to use deadly force when there is a danger to others. The police department rules and regulations require an officer to act even when there is personal risk. Officer Delpy was following the law and his training. Most people run from danger. Police officers run toward danger. Officer Delpy was protecting himself, his backup officers who were on the way, and the public. Officer Delpy graduated second in his class from the police academy, has no disciplinary violations, and has been considered for Officer of the Month. He'll enter a plea of not guilty to this murder charge. He is still a police officer. Today, under police rules and regulations, he was decommissioned, but that's required. He's still a police officer. Mr. Brown and I and Officer Delpy want to thank the community members for the support which we've received previously and particularly today on behalf of Officer Delpy and law enforcement in general. Both of us have received countless calls of support from officers and the public. We certainly intend to vigorously defend this case and put this matter to a jury. To my knowledge, this is the first time a Nashville police officer has been charged with murder in the performance of official duties. When Officer Delpy is acquitted, it will be the last time a police officer is on trial for his freedom for just doing his job. Thank you.
You take a question. Something you said you could talk about what's in the affidavit. Some people have suggested that the actual defense is in the affidavit, that there's enough facts in here that defend his position as a police officer and what he did.
We don't disagree with that. We think that we agree with the affidavit, and that the magistrate apparently found insufficient probable cause, I understand, when it was presented. But I certainly don't disagree that there's many facts in this affidavit which are now public, which we believe are consistent with public law.
How is Officer Delpy doing at this moment? Have you talked to him? What's his state of mind? What does that conversation look like?
Officer Delpy, we advised him this morning of the charge. He went to Mr. Brown's office. We arranged for a bond. The bond is set at $25,000, by the way. We had a professional bondsman make that immediately. He turned himself in. He was booked, then went through the booking process, and then immediately went home for the decommissioning process. He really appreciates all the support from his brother and sister police officers and the community support. He's looking forward to being vindicated. He's a strong police officer and believes in the law, and has every intention of defending himself in this case.
You hinted that there might be more videos. Where are they? Can you give us an idea of where they were shot from, what they come from?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that, but there will be a preliminary hearing in this case, and the state will be able to put on whatever case they feel like they want to put on in the DA said, a transparent manner, whatever.
How do you react?
And then I suspect that there may be some other. We will not stand by and do nothing during the hearing. We may present some proof of our own.
How do you react to the magistrate's decision to not sign this charging document? They sign thousands a year. I think some people would complain that they often just rubber stamp what comes before them. Does that give you is that a vote of confidence for you, or how do you assess that?
I have we believe that the magistrates act within the law and do their jobs.
Along those lines, I mean, we now know that magistrate said no, then the DA takes it to a judge. Is that kind of judge shopping normal? Is it allowed? Is that okay?
I'm not going to comment on any of that. That speaks for itself.
In the affidavit, sorry, very low here. There's kind of information about a misidentified car, whether Officer Delpy even knew that Hambrick was the one who was in that car. Do you dispute the facts that are in the affidavit as far as that?
Well, let me just answer this. I am not allowed to get into the facts. I mean, you have a one-page recitation of a very, very long, complex set of facts. And I don't want to be in a situation of picking apart one affidavit or discussing facts in there. There are a multitude of facts. Certainly we're going to present all the facts at any hearing that we have. I'm not, I appreciate the TBI did that, but for some reason it wasn't acceptable to the magistrate, and I'm not sure what the problems are with the warrant.
Mr. Brown, have 90 years of experience between you. Have you ever seen a warrant turned down by a magistrate?
Actually, I have.
What's your message to the Hambrick family, who clearly believes that he was the murderer, that he had that stance and shot him multiple times?
What is your question?
What's your message to even the Hambrick family?
I'm representing Officer Delpy.
Right. But I'm saying that there is a lot, even to the message to the community, knowing that they saw the video, he had that stance as if he was intending to kill him.
And what is your question?
And what is your message to those?
I'm not communicating with them. I'm defending this officer, and I think that it's important to look at all the videos when they come out.
You talked about public debate. You said you could comment on rumors and innuendo, that you could talk about that. So there was a lot of talk about, did Hambrick have a gun or not? Well, now it appears both sides are in agreement. Will you talk about that? I mean, it's all over social media. He was unarmed, he didn't have a gun.
I think the TBI investigation reflects in the warrant that their man had a weapon.
Just to clarify.
A pistol.
Just to clarify, those videos, have you seen video that actually shows him with a gun in his hand?
I cannot comment on that.
Let me ask you to clarify so I don't misunderstand what you were saying earlier. You said that you want Andrew Delpy to face a jury, which hints that you would not take a plea, right? There's no grand bargain here. I know it's early on, but
He's being compelled to face a jury by the charges against him, and so he has a right to a jury trial, and so we anticipate presenting our case to a jury. We're going to enter a plea of not guilty.
Do you look forward to it? Do you think this is a good case?
No lawyer looks forward to a jury trial when your client is charged with a defense like this under facts like this. We don't look forward to that, but we're certainly prepared to defend it.
Do you have other evidence that shows that he is not guilty?
I can't comment on that.
David, if you say that he was just doing his job, he was protecting himself, other officers, then why would Judge Mondelli have signed the warrant today for a homicide charge?
I don't want to comment on the judge's made a decision based on the warrant that was presented to him.
Do you think Do you think that there was not actually probable cause, or that he signed it despite there
I'm
not
not
being
gonna, that's a judicial determination, and I'm not gonna comment on Judge Mondelli's decision. He reviewed the warrant, set a reasonable bond for my client. Have no, that is a preliminary procedure that is there. That's for a later time to decide. I have no comment. Judge did what the judge thought appropriate, and it's not for us to comment on that.
When did you find out that TBI would be trying to attempt to file a warrant against him?
We were advised today in the media from you all that there had been multiple attempts to acquire a warrant. I did not know that was going to happen until the media.
From the DA's office or TBI?
I don't want to do it. I have no way I want to discuss any of my discussions with the district attorney, but I was not aware that a warrant was going to be issued. And I certainly didn't know until you all presented it that the warrants were unsuccessful at least one or more times. I did not know that.
Do you agree with the statement, nevertheless, because Officer Delpy understood that part of the task force directive was to make traffic stops, he continued to follow to see if he could develop a reason to stop the impound?
I don't want to comment on anything beyond the face of the warrant.
He asked you about a magistrate saying no. I'm asking, in all your years, have you ever seen a magistrate say no and then another judge say yes?
I've seen judges decline warrants before, and then another judge make a decision based on that. It very seldom happens, but occasionally. Judges make decisions every day. The issue here is we're beyond the multiple attempts to get warrants. I mean, that is, in a case of this magnitude, to have that happen is certainly unusual.
Can you talk about the community outcry, specifically from groups like the NAACP, that this was targeting because of race?
I'm not going to comment on that. I'm here to defend this officer. I'm going to comment on that sort of thing.
When you take on a case like this, do you wish that police had body cameras for an even better look at it?
Well, hindsight is 20/20, and I think there may be a lot about this case having to do with hindsight, but it certainly had Officer Delpy. We'd be happier if there was a body cam, but that wasn't provided to the officer.
Would you say your client is he upset by the charges? Was he, is he sad? Is he angry? How would you describe his emotions right now?
Officer Delpy is a private person. He is faced with these charges, and I don't want to discuss that. I mean, that's part of the attorney-client privilege to discuss that. He has a lot of support from his friends and his family and other police officers, and that's it.
Do you have any indication that the feds have been looking into this?
No, there's no indications of that. We thank you all very much for meeting with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, do you mind also saying your name? Is it co-counsel then?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, do you mind saying and spelling your first and last name?
John, J-O-H-N, two middle initials, M-L, Brown, B-R-O-W-N.
Okay, anything you'd like to add, Mr. Brown?
No,
Thank you.
I'll have plenty to say at the trial.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
He was